There are so many different detox programs and supplements out there. Many of these what I would consider, fad diet programs like the 3-day detox or the 7-day detox. But do they work? Are they necessary? This video, we're going to go into more details of how you can look at improving liver detoxification for the long term, because these days we're exposed to so much more toxins than we have at any time in history. I'm Michael from 𝗦𝗨𝗕𝗘. I specialize in detailed functional medicine testing to get to the underlying root cause of your health issues. So let's look at detoxification programs, or just how the body detoxes. One argument is that you don't need a detox program. Our livers are always working, which is true. You don't have a liver that's not working. But we're exposed to so many more toxins from chemicals, environment, herbicides, pesticides. Even if you're eating like an organic diet, you're still going to be exposed to BPA from just grabbing a receipt from the supermarket, for example. Even in places like Antarctica, they've discovered, microplastics and things like that. So it's hard to avoid toxins, but we can reduce our exposure to them as best as we can. We can improve the way our body detoxifies. So the main sources of toxins in the environment are from things like plastics, from polluted or tainted water sources, from lead, arsenic, mercury, and other environmental contaminants that can find our way into the environment. Air pollution, industrial fumes, vehicle exhaust. Like, unless you live in the middle of nowhere, everyone's exposed to car fumes. Asbestos, smoke from people smoking, cigarette smoke. Luckily, a lot less people are smoking these days. Even if you don't smoke, you can be exposed to secondhand smoke. Paint and solvent fumes, cleaning products. Even when you buy a new car or get new furniture, there's off-gassing of chemicals from those products. So it's impossible to avoid toxins. Some of the toxins we're exposed to include phytates, which are chemicals that, they're found in plastics. And these are found in some of the everyday things that we're using, like shampoos and perfumes. And toxins are more of a problem for women, especially if they're using a lot of cosmetics, because the skin absorbs toxins in very easily. There was even a recent study showing that absorbed toxins from athletic clothing, like, not to pick on any particular brand names, but Lululemon, Adidas, Nike, some of these materials that they use have PFAS in them, which are like what they call forever chemicals. Flame retardants used in many furnitures, things like that, they will off-gas and expose us to toxins. So it's really impossible to avoid. But what can we do? PFAS I've just mentioned, and they're found in cookware, water repellent clothing, even some of the boxes we use for like takeout foods, like pizza box and things like that. To stop the box going all soggy, they use PFA chemicals. So it's really difficult to minimize our exposure to them. They've been known to cause liver toxicity, kidney damage, immune system disruption, thyroid problems, fertility issues. So toxins can cause a wide range of symptoms. BPAs, most people have heard of BPAs, you can get a lot of BPA-free plastics these days. You got to be careful because they just use a different chemical in the plastics. You're better off using ceramic, glass, stainless steel for things like water bottles, storing food in them. Especially if it's hot food, you don't want to put that into a plastic container. So we can't avoid toxins, but what can we do to reduce our exposure? These are some of the things we can do. We can avoid non-stick cookware, plastic packaging, plastic food containers, and just use, glass, ceramic, stainless steel instead. Don't reheat food in plastic containers. Some of the canned food can be BPA-lined containers. Not all, but you got to read the containers and make sure it's not. Furniture with polyurethane foam can cause more environmental toxins off-gassing. And just check the labels from anything you buy, especially things like personal care products. Anything that comes in a cream or anything you apply to your skin, you've got to be careful it doesn't contain environmental toxins. And also household cleaners and things like that. There's plenty of safe, environmental friendly ones you can get. So it's just a matter of reading the labels, educating yourself. Places like the Environmental Working Group, and there's different websites out there, and we'll put some links in the show notes so that you can educate yourself on how to avoid these toxins. A lot of Western countries use lots of herbicides, pesticides on their food. So try to find like organic food where possible. There's a thing called the Dirty Dozen, the Clean 15. The Clean 15 is foods that have the minimal or no herbicides, pesticides, usually to help them grow. Whereas the Dirty Dozen, they're the ones that you really want to avoid unless they're organic. They're usually the thin-skinned fruits and vegetables like peppers, strawberries, other berries. They're the foods that, there's sometimes foods you can eat, but they're not the ideal foods for everyday health. So try to avoid those foods as much as possible. Eating fresh, real food is the key. Another problem with toxicity is even EMF toxicity, electromagnetic frequencies from radiation, cell phones, cell phone towers, electrical grids. And not everybody reacts to these EMFs, but some people become more and more sensitive. I find people who are also experiencing other toxins like mold toxicity, Lyme disease, weakened immune function, are often more sensitive to EMFs, and sometimes people don't even realize it. In today's world, they're hard to avoid. You can do things like turning off your phone at nighttime when you go to bed so it's not like beside you emitting EMFs, turning off Wi-Fi in the home when you don't need it. Especially if you live near a cell phone tower, you can get EMF readers if you need to. So another source of toxins are endotoxins. So the endotoxins are produced by your body. This can be from overgrowth of the wrong gut bacteria, but even the body metabolizing things like hormones. If you're not detoxifying estrogen properly, that can lead to a lot of estrogen dominant symptoms. And these toxins, they're processed through phase 1 and phase 2 liver detox pathways and then cleared out through the stool. So people who are more prone to digestion issues, constipation, they're going to have a higher level of bacteria that can lead to toxins. But also if you're constipated, you're not able to clear toxins out of the body. So that's one of the first steps if you're trying to reduce your toxic load, is to make sure you're not constipated. And that means that you have a healthy bowel movement at least once a day. So what are some of the things we can do to reduce our toxins from the body? One of the best things for elimination of toxins is exercise, especially if you can build up a sweat. Not everyone has access to sauna, but just exercising, getting the blood flowing and sweating can help the body remove toxins through the skin. That's one of the best ways to remove toxins besides through a healthy digestive tract. Making sure you're drinking clean water. Discourage people from drinking lots of bottled water. There's less issue from bottled plastic water if you're just using it once, but the amount of plastic bottles in the environment is just not good for the earth. So trying to have your own filtered water if you don't have clean access. You can get things like water filters easily added to your home so you don't have to keep buying bottled water to get fresh water. Just reducing stress levels helps with that emotional toxins that you get from the world around us. Trying not to sort of look at all the bad news that's in the newspapers and the internet, practicing meditation, yoga, those types of things can help clear the mind. And stress is a toxic burden on the body. So if you can reduce your own stress levels through breathing and just not exposing yourself to all the stresses that are out there. Stress is part of life, but you don't need to know about all the bad things happening in the world, especially if there's something that's completely out of your control. So the best diet for detoxification, I've mentioned all the things you shouldn't do, like avoiding all the processed foods, but making sure you're having a good variety of fruits and vegetables, especially the colorful ones, which are high in antioxidants, things like apples, cranberries, papaya, grapefruit, lemon, berries, different colors of carrots, and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli, cabbage. They're all excellent for detoxification. Variety is the key. The body needs amino acids for detoxification. The liver requires protein, so making sure you're getting enough protein in the diet. There is a short-term detox program that I often recommend called the fast mimicking diet. This is just a 5-day no protein diet to help stimulate autophagy and cell death, cell regeneration. These types of things are great, but in general, you want to try and get at least 100 to 120 grams of protein a day. More if someone's bigger or they're exercising more. But the fast mimicking diet is something to consider. And there's a lot of research on that showing that it helps with immune function. Some of the research with the fast mimicking diet helps with the benefits of cancer treatments and chemotherapy, reducing down the negative side effects of chemo. So good sources of protein include grass-fed beef, seafood, legumes, lentils, nuts, and the flax seeds and sunflower seeds. Those are great for insoluble fiber as well, which is important for detoxification. So a lot of herbs and spices help with detoxification. And you can add some of these to your diet, or for more concentrated forms, you might get them in like a supplement. Some of these things include turmeric, garlic, cilantro, cayenne pepper, rosemary, oregano, cinnamon, coriander. So they're all great for helping detoxification. You can easily include those in your cooking, and a lot of the detox supplements contain these herbs and spices. So who would benefit from doing a detox program, whether it's for 1-2 weeks? So if you're overweight or just always feeling unwell, it could be a great way to reset the body, just focusing on really clean foods to eat for a period of time. And there's different options out there, from the Whole30, which goes for 30 days, to things like fast mimicking diet, which goes for 5 days. If you're feeling bloated, headaches, fatigue, these can all be signs of the body having trouble removing toxins from the body. If you've got a lot of skin problems and rashes, eczema, maybe a detox program would be helpful for you too. If you have a lot of constipation, indigestion, just feeling bloated all the time with foods, doing a program that maybe involves the low FODMAP diet could help with digestion problems. That involves cutting out fermentable carbohydrates that could be feeding bacterial overgrowth. And bacteria are another source of toxins. Detoxification can help with brain fog and mental fatigue, as well as physical fatigue. So if you're finding that you're having trouble focusing, always tired a lot, just focusing on your diet, lifestyle, and introducing some key supplements may be a good way to reset the body. And that can be a good way of looking at a detox as more of a reset and get you back onto good habits that you can maybe keep going for the longer time, especially if you found yourself eating on the run, eating more processed foods, and just not looking after yourself as well as you could be. So there's 3 phases to detoxification. There's phase 1 of liver detox, that's all the cytochrome P450 enzymes. There's phase 2, which is things like methylation, glutathione, sulfation. Then phase 3 is clearing the toxins out through the gut. So you don't necessarily have to start with phase 1, then phase 2 and phase 3. In fact, sometimes it's important to start with phase 3, because if you can't clear the toxins through the bowel, there's no matter what you do in phase 1 and phase 2, if you speed up those, you could just recirculate and reabsorb toxins back in. So making sure you're not constipated, making sure you've got good gut function is the first step to detoxification. Detoxification could include intermittent fasting, like the 5-2 diet, or eating 16 or fasting for 16 hours a day and eating for 8 hours a day. There's lots of variations that you can do. So just to recap, first thing to do is reduce your exposure to toxins and eat a healthy diet. Then there is some supplements that can be potentially helpful. And I always recommend people work with a practitioner to do this, or do genetic testing like self-decode to see if what your weaknesses are, or do a gut test like the 𝗟𝗜𝗏𝗧 or GI map to see if you need to focus on overgrowth of gut bacteria that are producing a lot of endotoxins. You can do testing like the environmental toxin panel from Vibrant Wellness, heavy metal testing, the Dutch hormone test from Precision Analytics that looks at estrogen detoxification and whether you're having trouble detoxing estrogen through phase 1 and phase 2. So these are all things you can do to see if you need a detox and which areas you may need to support, whether it's phase 1, phase 2 or phase 3. Once you've done those types of testing, these are some of the supplements that can be helpful. Things like glutathione, it's like the master antioxidant, plays a crucial role in liver detoxification and it's important for inflammation and the immune system. And acetylcysteine, it's an amino acid that can help your body make more glutathione. Magnesium, zinc, vitamin C, taurine, these are all choline, these are all nutrients the body needs or the liver needs to help the detoxification process. And then there's herbs like milk thistle, 𝗟𝗏𝗕𝗏, schizandra, baplurum, dandelion root. They're all herbs that can be beneficial and help the liver process toxins more effectively. Let me know in the comments below if you've found anything that's been super helpful for you, or if you've had problems with detox programs before. Sometimes people can get negative reactions, like if they detox too quickly, they can have a lot of die-off symptoms. That means that things like headaches, nausea, skin problems may actually even get worse if their body can't handle the amount of toxins that they're eliminating. Or they may be focusing on phase 1 and phase 2 of liver detox, but they haven't focused on phase 3, so they're just recirculating toxins back into the system. So if you have any questions, leave a comment. Otherwise, I hope this is helpful. So I'll leave links to everything we've mentioned below, and you can check out what we recommend for detox, find out about the testing to see if you need to detox, and I will see you in the next video.